Great day, everybody. Super excited to be here. My name is Fabian Brown. I'm working at Mount Ephraim School District doing some technology integration. Today, we're going to be talking about Google Calendar. I'm so excited. You know this is official because I have my official shirt and my official name badge. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we are going to ignore this phone call. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to share the screen so you guys won't get to see this, but you get to see my screen, which is more important. So let's present this to everybody and let's jump right into this. Let's hide that. All right, so again, today we're talking about Google Calendar, from scheduling meetings to customizing your calendar, which is great. So there's a couple ways you can get to Google Calendar. I'm gonna do it the simplest way, which is through your email. Hit the app panel bar right here, and we're just gonna visit our Google Calendar. All right, so once we are here, the first thing that I would like to show you is how to, this basically is where some navigation tools are at. So right now I have it default to be set in week view. Okay, right here at the top, you can toggle between showing it by day, by week, by month, the 5-day schedule, or by agenda. The agenda view is probably the most beneficial for me, at least, and probably for a lot of other people. Let's just start off with this week view right here for a second. Let me bring your attention over here to the left-hand side. Before we create a event, I'm just going to minimize these three areas and just talk a little bit about this. So right over here, we have our mini calendar. And as we navigate it, it's going to obviously populate the month that we are currently in. We are in August of 2015. If I want to advance in the future, all I have to do is just kind of hit these little buttons here, or go, to a further date. Simple stuff. Let me hide that. Okay, my calendars versus other calendars. Now, my calendars. Basically, we have different calendars that either I've created personally or calendars that have been shared with me, and I've been granted access to see these calendars. Either I've been given access to either view these calendars only, or I've been given access to manipulate, change, or do something with the calendars. So notice how they have all these color boxes right here. And as you start to see me take away the colors from some of these boxes, you're starting to see events disappear. Okay. This is a great way to basically make a distinction between which calendar you're viewing. Now, if you want to view all of them, obviously just go ahead and click them all. If you only want to view a few at a time to cross-reference some calendars, you can go ahead and do this. This is a really useful tool that Google created, because now you can separate different categories, okay? So for example, I have my Fabian Brown calendar. This is my work calendar. This is not my personal calendar. This is my work calendar. Then I have public to our school district. I have public for what our staff is supposed to see. I have birthdays, I have parent Chromebook training calendar, and I have my tasks here. We'll talk about tasks in another tutorial. So again, just so you know, to navigate between the two, it's just as easy as a click of a button. Now, going down here to other calendars, well, that's exactly what it is. It's other calendars, okay? These are calendars that you are requesting to have access to, either viewing or being able to manipulate that. So that's that quick tutorial over here. I showed you over here. Let's go into settings real quick by going to this area right there. And again, we can make our calendar, if I do the month view, we can make our calendar comfortable. We can make it cozy. We can make it compact, depending on how you want to do it. They're very, very minute, small changes. I just keep things comfortable. But really what you want to look at here is the settings help section for help with that. Offline calendar, you can sync it with your mobile device. There's a lot of cool features that we're not going to cover today. We're going to kind of focus on the settings area and the labs area. Let's go to the labs area. Labs are basically experimental beta versions of some cool stuff that can be added to your functionality in Calendar. These things are being considered to be rolled out through Google. It may or may not. So don't get hooked on these labs, because they could be here today and gone tomorrow. But there's some pretty cool features. For example, if you want one of these features, all you have to do is simply toggle between enable and disable. So hide morning and night. I have that enabled because this calendar is basically for work, and that is between the hours of 8 and 3:30. So I want to keep my personal life separate from my work life. Okay, my business life separate from my personal life. There's some other cool labs here. For example, if you wanted a cool background image to kind of brighten up your day, you can go ahead and enable that. Just make sure at the very end you just hit save. Okay, and then we have a cool background, cool saxophone background with some sheet music because I'm a musician. But you know what? At the end of the day, this kind of clutters up my calendar. So I'm going to go back into my settings, and I'm going to disable that because I really don't want that. So I'm just going to remove it. Okay, so great, and I got that picture from this background. I just did a Google search for that. So this is just where we're going to do some minute settings, and these are again all the general settings that we can do. So I'm not going to select your intelligence. You can read what's going on. A couple things I will highlight though. Date format is something that I would highlight, and your time zone. Obviously, you want to make sure that you are in your current time zone. Okay, I'm Eastern Standard Time here. The date format, you have the option of doing these options. I guess for US, the most standard is the one that I have selected here. And the time format basically goes from the Army time to civilian time. So I have mine connected to civilian time. Default event duration. Normally meetings will last anywhere from an hour, but you do have the option of making it shorter or longer if you would like to. And my weekday starts on a Monday, okay? Because again, this is a business calendar. This is not used for personal. So it's going to be a Monday through Friday event, okay? You can check this, show a warning to other people when they invite me to an event outside of my working hours. I put that right here. So if someone's trying to schedule a meeting with me at 3:31, well, they're going to get a notification saying, hey, listen, this is outside of my working hours. I'm probably not going to do that. Okay. Again, I had these clicked over here because it's going to dim my past events. I don't need them to be bright. Okay. Dim recurring future events. You can, again, that's your personal preference. Okay. Show weekends in the week or the month. I hit no because I don't plan on doing any work related to this business on a Saturday or a Sunday. We have the default view to week. You can also change that. Another popular view is agenda. Custom view. Okay, I have mine set to 5 days per week because it's a 5-day working week. So this coincides with this one. Week starts on a Monday. So just make sure if you're going to go to a 5-day week that you select the right starting day here. Okay. Location, I just put the zip code here. And these are all, again, these are things that are really not the majority that you need to have. So then we have some other settings here in calendars. But before we get to the settings, let's start off simple. Let's start off with creating an event. Okay, so I'm going to click here back to calendar. So here we are. I still have this. Let's refresh this. Okay, we got rid of that saxophone. Still there. Let's go to settings. Let's go to calendar background. Let's go to remove. And then what I didn't do? I didn't hit save last time. So there it goes. There, it's removed now. All right, so here's my calendar. Let me populate my mini calendar. Let me populate my calendars. Okay, so I want to create an event. Now you can do it really quickly by going here and writing an example, dinner with Michael at 7 p.m. and you can add it. It's going to add it to your automatic default first calendar, your name. But let's go into depth here with creating an actual event. So I'm just going to put something like, hanging out with teachers. Okay. Now, obviously, you want to fix all this information. Let's say we're going to put it on today's Monday the 10th. Let's say we're going to put it on Wednesday the 13th, and we're going to put the time to 12:30 to 1. You can make this an all-day event, or you can give it an ending. You can make this repeating and recurring, and then you have the options here if you want to recur this on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, a yearly basis. You have all these options. So that's great because you can schedule multiple events. If you're going to have something consistently at the same time every week, boom, you can take care of that. You can have it end at a certain time or after maybe 5 or 6 occurrences or end on a specific date. Okay, and then you can just hit done for that. This feature, Find a Time, is really helpful for collaborating with colleagues. The trick is if you're going to use this feature, your colleagues also have to be very, very active with putting their calendar on Google Calendar. So basically, when you use the Find a Time feature, it's really, really neat. Instead of having to call your colleagues up and say, hey, are you available at this time? Are you available at that time? You just go ahead and schedule a date and time, and then you invite certain guests by adding the guests here. And then Google will actually access their calendar and see if they're available or not. So you can just avoid all the emails back and forth. You can avoid all the phone calls back and forth trying to figure out 5 different people's schedules. Just make a Google Calendar, find a time. But again, the caveat to this feature is all the individuals that you're trying to collaborate with have to be active on Google Calendar. So again, we can enter a location. This is great because you know what this is going to do, because it's used through Google Maps, is going to actually find a location. So let's say I want to do Pete's Pizza here on Delsey Drive in Westville. I can put it right there. Then when the event comes up, it's going to give me a link to click, and it's going to be able to give me directions to that location. You know, well, do I want this to be a video call? Okay, I can do that. I can remove it. I can change the name. You know, I can change it to hanging out for lunch. Okay, hanging out. And then I can save that if I want to do that. All right, that's if I wanted to add that. Now, here's an important tip. What calendar do I want to have it on? Do I want to have it on my personal calendar, on the public calendar, on the staff calendar? We're going to visit this more in a section. Right now, I just want to have it on my Fabian Brown calendar. Go ahead and give it a description. Just hang for lunch. Okay. I also can add an attachment. Now, in order to be able to have this feature, you have to go to your labs and you have to be able to enable this feature to add attachments. You know, so if you don't see this on your Google Calendar, I'll save it here real quick. If you don't see that on the Google Calendar, you're going to have to really go to settings, excuse me. You're going to have to go to labs. Okay, and you're going to have to find the lab that has add the attachment. Oh, and that's interesting. At the time that I added that lab, or at the time that I added that feature, it was a lab, it was a beta version. Obviously, Google now has taken upon that as being a cool feature, so it looks like it automatically does that. I haven't did a tutorial on this in over a year, so there you go. Let's go back to our calendars here. And we were working on something on Wednesday, and we were working in the Fabian calendar. So where is my event? Wednesday, August the 13th. Okay, hang out with the teachers. So let's go here and edit this. By clicking on the event, we can edit it. There we go. I can choose a different color. Here's the great thing, notifications. Okay, I can have a pop-up notification, I can have an email notification, or I can have both. Let's say I want to have a pop-up 1 hour before the event. Great. Let's say I want an email notification. Let's say I want that to be 1 day before the event. Okay, let's say I want another pop-up notification, maybe 5 minutes before the event. Okay, and so forth and so on. I can keep adding notifications, or I can simply delete them by clicking on the delete, because maybe I don't want a notification. So, you know, either way. Now, on my calendar, because sometimes you can share your calendar with other colleagues, you know, am I going to be available or am I going to be busy? It's defaulted on busy because obviously that's your schedule that you have. And this is important too, the visibility. Do you want this to be on the default settings that you already have? Do you want to make it public or do you want to make it private? Again, that's your discretion. Read the fine print here. By default, this calendar will follow the sharing settings of this calendar. So we'll go into the settings in a little bit later in this tutorial. I just want to push on. Now, let's say you want to add people to this event. You want to invite people to this calendar. Here's what we have to do. We have to add guests. So I'm going to add my friend, Miss Kitty Gallagher. Okay. Now, for me, she's already in my contact database with my Gmail account. So again, remember, all these Google apps are integrated with one another. So in order for you to be able to have this feature, you would have had to have communicated with that individual through Gmail. That's just another caveat. And let's say I'm going to also email a friend, Miss Amy Francis. Okay. So it's going to send an email to the guests. Now, look down here. Be careful. You know, guests do you want them to be able to modify the event? No, I don't. Do you want them to be able to invite others? Sure, why not? And yeah, no problem. They can see who else I invited to this at all. Now, this is going to be a reference. 0 people said no because I haven't sent this request out yet. Okay, but it makes sense, right? All right, questions. Let's see if there's anybody on the Google Hangout watching with any questions. Okay. Let me see. Okay, no viewers, so we're good to go. No questions, no comments. All right, let's continue going on. We're going to hit save. Would you like to send invitations to the guests? I can hit send, I can hit not send. One more thing before I save it, more actions. So listen, we can change the owner of this calendar. We can duplicate this event to another event. We can copy this. There's a lot of options that we're going to cover in a second, but let's just go ahead and hit save, and let's go ahead and send them an email. So now, right now, they're getting an email notification that I'm sending them an event. Okay, so here's our thing. Here's another way to create a calendar, or let's say, or an event rather, but let's say I wanted to extend the time. It's 12:30 to 1:30. Let's say I wanted to drag it out to 2:30, because, we like to eat. Would you like to update guests for your changes? Nah, let's not send that. Okay, so now I just increased my time. Coincidentally, you can also add an event the same way. If I go to Friday and I click here and I drag, I can add an event that way as well too. And I can just do something really quick. I can edit the event. So there's more than one way to be able to add an event. You can add appointment slots. Okay, we can also break it down to different appointments. Allow other people to book time on your calendar using appointment slots. This is something new that Google just rolled out with, which is also great. So you can block out a book of time, and then you can let the people basically select appointments within that time frame. A very useful, time-effective way. Takes it off of you, puts it onto them. Okay, so that's basically as far as the creating of an event, and the sharing of the event by basically inviting these people to be able to get on there. We also covered collaborating with other team members in as much as using that find a time feature. Again, this is a quick tutorial on how to use Calendar. We can toggle here between the days of the week. I like this agenda view because it's nice and clean. And don't forget here, if you wanted to see other things that were on the calendar, you can have multiple calendars. So now let's go back to that same event that we had earlier. Okay, we'll go back to the week view and we'll go to this event. We'll click on it. We can edit the event. We can join the Google Hangout meeting right here. If we wanted to do, there's the address, there's the time. Am I going? Yes, I created it. So, or I can delete it. Let's edit this event and let's show you this more actions feature. Okay, so we know that it's on the Fabian calendar. We know that it's here, and there's some more actions. We can change the owner of this calendar, and we can name someone within our contact list to make them that owner. Okay, the message: I would like to transfer ownership of this use of this Google Calendar. Change owner. Really simple. So basically, you can set somebody up for success and then delegate all the upkeep and all the work to somebody else if you choose to do so. Some other actions here. Obviously, is to duplicate this event. This is something that's going to happen more than often. You hit duplicate event, okay, and then you're able to repeat it through this process right there. Okay, let's just hit save. I do not want to send notifications, and there you are. I duplicated this event right there. So let's just take this one, click it. Let's delete it because we don't need a duplicate. Delete with and update guests. Delete without updating guests. Don't delete. Delete without updating guests. We're back to the original one. Let's hit edit event. I'm going fast because I know you guys are great learners. And that's basically all the features here. Or we can copy it to other calendars as well. If I wanted to copy it to, let's say, the public calendar. Okay. Well, there it is. But I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to hit save. But there it is, calendar, the public. We're just going to discard that because we don't want to do that. Okay. So basically, that is the tutorial on how to use Google Calendars. It's really simple. It's really effective. The most part that I like about it is the feature of finding and collaborating with other people. And it's quite simple. Again, if you guys have any questions with any of this information, feel free to just to comment on the YouTube comments. Feel free to send me an email, whatever is clever. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial because this is a episode of Nerd Know How by Fabian Brown. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.